Hi everyone, it's Jay from Mitosu Crafts. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to our channel. Today I'm hopping along with the Global Stampin Video Hop with the theme of Fancy Fold. So be sure to check out the description below for more amazing card making and papercraft inspiration from the design team. Today I'm sharing an Aperture Easel Card using the Snowflake Wishes bundle. So that's with the stamp set and the So Many Snowflakes dies. I'm also using the Stitch Nested Labels dies, the biggest die from there. The ink pads, I'll be using Pool Party, Balmy Blue, as well as the Stampin' Right marker in Real Red for the sentiment, and Night of Navy. So all of the products list will be listed below, which you can also purchase from our online shop if you live in the UK, France, Germany, Austria, or the Netherlands. For the card stock I'm using normal Whisper White, so not the thick one, and this measures 10.5 centimeters by 28 centimeters, scored, and will be folded in half at 14 centimeters. So use your normal card base, but have it as a 10th fold. Seaside Spray, this one measures 1 centimeter less on the side, or 0.5 centimeters less on the height, or that is 3/8 of an inch less on the sides, or 3/16 of an inch less on the top and bottom, if that makes sense. So if you can see, so it's got a bit more gap on the sides than on the top. So you'll need two of those, one for the top and one for the bottom, or you can substitute that for a designer series paper. For the front, you'll need another card, which is Night of Navy. So I've die cut that with the largest nested label stitch, and we're actually going to use both pieces, so do keep hold of those. So you need a big enough cardstock that can fit the frame as well as the inside, and another piece of Whisper White thick this time, and die cut with the largest stitch nested labels. Okay, so we'll do some stamping beforehand, and I'll be stamping in Balmy Blue and Pool Party. So if you have designer series paper, you can use that as mentioned, and I'm just gonna stamp the cluster of snowflakes randomly, just to have something in the background, and we'll do the same for that as well. That's it. And then for the front, so I'm gonna do that in Balmy Blue with this design in the middle of that. And then the sentiment that I'll be using is in the coldest moments of the year, my heart is warm because you're near. And because I want to highlight some of the words, I'm using the Stampin' Right marker. So for the front, I'm only using the first 3 lines in the Night of Navy. So take your Stampin' Right marker and slightly angle it, so you're using more of the side rather than the tip, and you are just gonna cover that stamp with the ink. You can mask the stamp as well with either masking tape or sticky note if preferred, but this way, if you do have the Stampin' Right markers, just easier to do so this way. And then don't forget to huff on it and then stamp onto your topper. So that is the topper done. For the inside piece, so this one measures 6 centimeters by 2.5, and the size actually will match the inside of there. So in inches, that is 2 3/8 of an inch. And this is just normal Whisper White, and I'm gonna stamp the end of the line. I'm just gonna get the chamois just to make sure there's no excess from the previous ink. So I'll start off with the Real Red, and I'm gonna do My Heart and You're Near, and then move on to the Night of Navy for the rest of the words. If you are new to our channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon to be notified for when we are live or when we have new uploads. And do share the videos, just help our channel grow. So this is the card front, and I'm gonna be stamping the same in Pool Party, the cluster of snowflakes. And then there we go, just randomly. So scored, and I'll fold it in half. And that's how it would look. And before we put it through the die cutting machine, I'm gonna add the backing on there with multi-purpose liquid glue. And this is why I use normal Whisper White, because I am strengthening it at the back with normal cardstock. And I'm aligning it right next to the spine. Ideally, I'll have it all the way down, but I find that I always have problems with the joining line, that it always buckles. So hopefully this way would work. So that is at the back of the front, card front. So before I get the Suki out, we're gonna do some partial die cutting. So we're gonna cut that like so, and align it in the middle, in the center, and then we're just gonna keep that open and then align the top plate along the bottom half. Okay, so you will have it like this. Align it in the center, and then on the edge of your cutting plate, align it halfway. Okay, I have scored or marked on either side where my halfway point is. So depending on how tall your card is, that's how you would align it. So I'll just get the machine now. So I've aligned it in the middle and the cutting plate. Just make sure you add a bit of pressure and guide your plates in as you're turning the handle, and then that should pick it up. And then double check that it has cut through both pieces. If not, you can cut it again and run it through the Big Shot. Run it through your Suki even. Or what you could do is just sometimes you can just help it along. And then get your paper trimmer and then just reinforce that score line up to the cut line. So I know that that's the halfway point, and I'm just gonna score along there. So then that way you're gonna fold that in half. Okay. With the Suki again, I have pre-cut most of the snowflakes from the So Many Snowflakes dies, and I've used this one. I've cut this one twice, this one twice as well, and that one time. And with this one, we're actually gonna, yeah, stick that on, and then for the outer, I'm gonna use that to add a frame for the topper. So you will need to cut with your paper snips, and you can see there is an embossed line there. So just follow the embossed line. So I guess it's better than fussy cutting because you do have a guide. There we go. So we're gonna add that on as a frame. So it just adds a nice border for the topper, and we're gonna stick that on with multipurpose liquid glue as well. So you can use your topper to align it and guide your border because it does warp. So you can always align the bottom first. And because the multi-purpose liquid glue is movable, or once it's still wet, you can just realign it so you don't see much of the white edge. But it's not too much of a worry. Okay, so that's done. I'm gonna add this piece underneath, and then again closer to the spine, and then we can fold the sides in. Okay, so we're just folding the outside. If you do find that there's a bit that hasn't cut, you can just use your snips, but I think that should be fine. Let's see. Okay. Let's fold that in half. And just burnish it with a bone folder. And that will then form our easel card. Cool. So we can just finish up. You can use a pencil or an erasable pen. And we're gonna line that there as well with dimensionals. Before we do that, I'm just gonna cut the end bit off. So I just want a nice edge, or you could die cut it as well using this, so you have a stitching at the end as well. There you go. So I actually made a pennant, and then we're gonna align that in there with dimensionals. Or what you could do is, so close it down, lift that up slightly, and slot it in. Here we go. So that is done. We're just gonna add the final touches. So to add a hole, I've actually used my Take Your Pick tool. So I'm just gonna get the Pierce mat. So to do that, I would suggest if you place it with the front down, and then just use the back to add a hole, so then the untidy side is going up, because we will be covering that with the sentiment or the topper, and then whilst it's displayed up, you don't see it as much. Okay, and I've actually used for my string Forever Greenery Trim Combo Pack, and I cut that in 4 inches, but that is actually long enough. So you have loads of strands there, and I'm only gonna use one. So one strand, and we will be sticking it down. So we're gonna reinforce this snowflake by backing it up. And before we do that, I'm gonna add the string. And then I'm just gonna add glue to the rest of the snowflakes. Okay, and then just put that in. And this is why I use multi-purpose liquid glue. You can move it slightly, and then you have it on a string. We're gonna add that on. So pierce it through, or feed it through even. And I did this by eye. So when you have that up, however far you want it down, that's where you would stick the top. So I want it in the middle. And then when you have it in, use Tear and Tape just to secure. Gauge it so then you have it hanging nicely in the middle. It's hard to show you because you're up there, but it will hang like that, so you have it centralized. Okay, now that that is done, we can finish up with the topper. So I'm just gonna add that on with multi-purpose liquid glue. Slot that in. And then add these on. As mentioned earlier, if you love the products that I'm using, they are available on our online shop. Use the current host code, which can be found on our website, mitosocrafts.com, or on our Facebook page as well, to have an extra thank you handmade gift from us or handmade card the following month. And you can either finish up with some embellishments. So you have the red rhinestone basic jewel or the adhesive back snowflakes. And I do want to add heart as well. So I've got real red cardstock and the dog builder punch. And I'm just gonna punch. Let's do 2 just in case. So I do want that one there. So add that on in the middle. And then we can add some more iridescent one. And then for the inside, we're gonna add one there. And then for the snowflake, I'm gonna add the red rhinestone. There we go, an Aperture Easel Card with the Snowflake Wishes bundle, including so many snowflake toys and other Stampin' Up products from our online shop for the Global Stampin Video Hop. Do check out the description below for the product list as well as the next video in the hop from the design team. Thanks again for joining me today. Until next time, bye!